After 2 weeks of relentless rain, the heavens finally parted and gave us the gift of a sunny day for Christmas. We decided to make the most of it and go out for dinner. If you have time, why don't you hop on and join us for a lazy drive along the lake route from Nyon to Montreux. We'll start the journey right from home in the village of Bougie-Bossy in Canton Vaud, in the outskirts of Geneva. This is a small village with a population of about 800, close to half of them expats like us. The village is right off the A1, the main east-west auto route in Switzerland. Though we'll briefly take the A1, we will get off at the first exit to Nyon, because today we want to take the slower but relatively more scenic route along the lake called Route de Lausanne. One little bit of advice for driving on Swiss highways. There are speed cameras everywhere, and the Swiss don't monkey around with speed limits. 120 kilometers per hour means 120 kilometers per hour. And don't be surprised if you get a ticket for even just a couple of clicks over the speed limit. Their highways, as I mentioned, called the autoroute, are relatively modest and humble by North American standards, but otherwise impeccable. Here's our exit. The cars you see lined up are headed north into the Jura Mountains to a ski resort called Saint-Serge, 15 or so minutes away. There's been fresh snowfall last night, and crazy as the Swiss are about off-piste skiing, they want to make the most of it. A quick detour to a McDonald's to keep my 12-year-old quiet for the drive. While we order, here's a bit of trivia. Switzerland has the world's most expensive Big Mac at $17.60 for a meal. But if it's any consolation, French makes the experience sound a lot more stylish.
Bonjour, s'il vous plaît, un menu McNuggets avec 9 nuggets. Il y a pas de coca? Coca.
Okay, let's carry on. We're passing through Nyon, which is the nearest town for us. It sits right on Lake Geneva, has a beautiful lakefront promenade, quaint rustic streets and buildings, and is overlooked by a castle dating back to 1463. The town is also home to the headquarters of UEFA, the European Football Association. As we pull out of Nyon, the road opens up to a bit of countryside, but the shores of Lake Geneva are prime property, and there's almost no beachfront left undeveloped. The rich and famous from around the world, long dead or living, have their waterfront properties here. Michael Schumacher, Audrey Hepburn, Peter Ustinov, Jackie Stewart, Phil Collins, the Aga Khan, to name just a few. And last but not least, Freddie Mercury, who we will meet in Montreux later. Well, sort of. You'll know what I mean. On the way, we pass many small towns, Rolle, Morges being slightly bigger ones. Each town is equally idyllic, usually has a chateau overlooking the town, with a promenade and a marina. It's the dead of winter, so the boats are all moored up, but during summer, it's a beautiful sight seeing all these boats on the water. Lake Geneva has a very extensive racing pedigree. The Swiss yachting team Alinghi that won the America's Cup 2003 and 2007 are headquartered on Lake Geneva. After a lazy 30 to 40 minute drive, we are entering the outskirts of Lausanne, which is the fourth largest city in Switzerland, and home to a long list of multinational companies: Bata, Logitech, Nestlé, Philip Morris, and also is the headquarters of the International Olympic Committee. In that sense, it is a major metropolis in Switzerland and a hub of economic activity. We are passing through the promenade right now, which is a great place to spend an evening. A lazy walk, sip a drink, enjoy a gelato, or just chill and watch the sun set over the lake and behind the Alps. As we get closer to Montreux, the terrain changes a bit from essentially flat to ruggedly mountainous. Beyond Montreux is where the typical Switzerland that you see in promos starts. On my next visit, I'll take you on a more extensive tour of Switzerland. It's a massive task actually. The whole country is a giant postcard. Anyways, so coming back to the terrain around Montreux, you would notice the steeply terraced mountainsides along the lake. The soil is suitably limestoney. Did I just make up a word? And the sunlight hits it from an angle that they say makes it ideal for growing grapes. The area is a major wine-producing region of Switzerland. From here, you can see Montreux in the distance, and to the south are the Alps, which, by the way, is all France across the water. The area that we see right now is the famous town of Evian, that lends its name to the world-famous bottled water. It actually comes from glacial springs in this town and is shipped the world over. We are entering Montreux. Even though it's Christmas Eve, the traffic is still heavy. We are just passing by the world-famous Palace Hotel. Built in 1906, it was completed in a record 18 months. Over its years, it's been host to countless celebrities, world leaders, and many landmark treaties have been signed here. Its front garden has statues of famous musicians, particularly jazz greats. The town hosts a world-famous jazz festival every year, where icons such as Miles Davis, Aretha Franklin, and B.B. King have performed over the years. I think the first order of visiting Montreux ought to be paying respect to Freddie Mercury. Freddie and Queen had a studio here in Montreux, and in it they recorded some of their most iconic songs during much of the 80s. Some yodeling. Though I suspect it's not the best that you would hear. As the sun set, we started looking for a restaurant. Because of COVID restrictions, spaces were very limited anyways. We could only manage to squeeze into a small pizzeria. A short after-dinner stroll.
Can we go home now?
Want to go home? Let's go. And we headed back home. Hope you like this journey. I visit Switzerland very often. We'll be coming back this summer, so hopefully we'll be able to make more detailed videos showing you Switzerland more in depth. Hit that like button if you, like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm building my own RV back in Canada and plan to travel extensively. If that's something that interests you, please do watch my earlier videos, subscribe, and join me in that venture. Thank you very much for your company, and hope to see you next time.
Are we already home?
Yes, we're already home.
Did you do your standing going?